Hey everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thank you so much for joining me today for Temperature Pattern Tuesday, because that is now a thing, which is very exciting. It is October 1st, 2024, and I have a new temperature pattern for 2025 that I would like to present to you. I know that a lot of you take the next couple months to plan out your coming year's stitching, and I hope that you like my temperature pattern offering. So this video, I'm going to introduce you to my new temperature pattern, which is the Temperature Peacock, which I'm really thrilled about. I love me some peacocks. I have my peacock t-shirt on. I have my peacock earrings in. I have a peacock up there. I love the peacocks. So I'm really excited about this. So I'm going to talk about the specifics of this. And if you're not interested in peacocks, I will go through my other temperature patterns at the end of this video, and hopefully something gets you excited to stitch for next year. I will have a new temperature library coming out in the next couple weeks. I'm roughly about a month behind in my temperature pattern designing because of family emergencies, but that will be coming out soon, and it will have some all new, never before seen knickknacks, as well as some old knickknack favorites. So before we get into this, I want to welcome my new subscribers and my new viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. Welcome back to anyone who has been here for however long you've been with me. It's been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy, which is in the description box down below. And I'm also on Patreon, where I post sort of history things. I'm a historian by profession, and also I post stitchy things sometimes. I have a vlog. You get sneak peeks on different things that I'm doing. You get to vote on ideas for patterns and other things. So if you're interested in supporting my work, that is also down below, as is my Etsy shop, which is where you will find all of my designs. They're only available in PDF versions. I do not sell paper patterns at the moment, but that could be changing in the near future. So thank you for joining me today for this Temperature Pattern Tuesday release party. All right, let's talk specifics. So this here is the temperature pattern. And if you've never done a temperature pattern before, essentially what you have is an image or a series of images that has 365 or 366 little sections that each correspond to a day. And I have provided in a separate PDF, when you buy this pattern, essentially temperature table where I have a 25, I believe, temperature ranges that are aimed at a temperate zone. And then each range is associated with a color. Well, in fact, each range, I have two colorways for this pattern. I have the rainbow colorway, which is bright. And then I have the peacock colorway, which is peacock. And so this is modeled in the peacock colorway, but you can do whichever one you want. When you buy the pattern, you'll get three things. You'll get the temperature table that I just described. You'll get this, which is a printable, kind of PDF, essentially, which has the cover. It has information, tips and tricks. I highly recommend reading it. It has a schematic of the month, which I'll go through. It has a color, and it has a black and white pattern. And then at the end, it has a key, color key. Now, a couple things about temperature patterns is that they're not all charted in the color you're going to use. So this one is charted in some colors, but the colors, the 01, 03, 310, and ecru in here are the colors that you will, are the sections that you will color with your temperature for the day. And everything in this is colored for the day except the head right here, the little doodly-doo crest feathers, and this outline color is 747. So everything else is done that's charted in 01, 03, 310, or ecru will be colored, it will be stitched in the color of the temperature for the day. I hope that makes sense. So that's how temperature patterns work. So let's talk about the deets. I'll give you the deets of this. All right. It is 145 stitches wide by 120 stitches high. So it's a little bit higher than it is wide. It is a total of 421 stitches, I believe. This is wrong because I had to add something. But I believe it's 11,421 stitches, which is about 31 stitches a day. It sounds like a ton, but it's not a lot of stitches per day. And there are these kind of extra stitches that you can kind of knock out ahead of time if you don't want to deal with those. And then there is some back stitching, very little back stitching, but there is some back stitching for the crest. And those stitches are in Not Blanc, went for winter white, 38, DMC 3865. So that's kind of the breakdown of the stitches. And just for your own information, if you do this on a 14 count over 1, it's a little over 8 by 10. If you do it on 18 count, it's a little over 6.5 by 8. So it's not actually all that big, which is kind of nice. It feels big, but it's not actually all that big. And as I said, the second page is the tips and tricks and just information about the pattern. I have a website here, listed here, where you can find your historic temperatures. So you can see how often your high temperature is a certain below or above a certain degree. And then you can kind of adjust the temperature table that I give you to match what's happening in your town. I mentioned my 2 colorways. Oh, the nice thing I do when I design things, you're welcome, is I design center start in these kind of complicated temperature patterns. So the middle of the pattern is about right there, which means that you can start in the head, and this here is January. So you can start in the head and just start right away with January. Or you can start in the middle center bottom, the middle bottom, and work your way up for January. So it doesn't matter what direction you stitch each month, as long as you stitch the correct month in the correct month. So that's kind of the only thing that matters. But I do a center start, so that way you know exactly how much fabric that you have. Each month is separated by a line of DMC 747, which I already mentioned, that's that light blue. And January is the peacock's body, and they kind of January, February, March, and then it goes around this way, and this little section here is December. And I have a schematic so you won't forget. But that's how it's organized. For Leap Day, this is not charted for Leap Day, but for Leap Day, this is February, this wing, and I left this top sort of part here slightly large. So you can split that in half for Leap Day if you want to do a retrospective of 2024, or if, I don't know, you really want to stitch this in 2028. I don't know, you might, but that's how you can switch this to leap year. And then I don't include the number, the year number, because I couldn't figure out where to put it. So if you want the year number, I'm gonna let you put it where you want it. There is space at the top to do a year. So those are the basic details. And that all is laid out on this second page. Now the third page is the monthly schematic. And you can see here I have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Oh, December's here. But the head is not included in that because the head is charted as you will stitch it. And I do have a recommendation to make for my folks in the Southern Hemisphere. The the color chart, the color temperature table that I've provided has these colors, and it starts with a darker purple and it ends with a darker green. And so in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the general color scheme where you have these sort of purples and blues and teals in the body. And then it gets greener as it moves up to the top, as it gets hotter. And then it goes back to blues and teals as it gets cooler again. And you end up, sorry, wrong way, this way, in December with the blues and teals again. I personally like the peacock to be peacock flavored, peacock colored. The feathers I'm less worried about being peacock, like I'm happy with them being more green, but the peacock itself I want to be blues and teals. If you feel the same way I do, just reverse the colors on the temperature table. So instead of having the purples be the -1, the -1 and below, have the dark green be the -1 and below, and then you'll have in the winter, in the summertime, you'll have the teals and blues, and in the winter, you'll have the greens, and that will kind of change the colors. So it's up to you how you want to put the colors, as long as you don't mess with this schematic, because this is the number of places you have to fill in. And so you want to stick with the plan, stick with the plan, or else you might have a lot of fudging to do. I think that's all I have to say about this. So I'm going to organize myself and then come back and just talk about the other temperature patterns I have on offer. And then hopefully you'll be, and then we'll do our giveaway, which is super exciting. So that'll come at the end. Hold on one sec. All right, I'm all organized. I have my Etsy shop pulled up. I just want to talk about the different patterns, different temperature patterns that I have, because this is Temperature Pattern Tuesday and that's what I'm focusing on. I have other patterns that are like historically themed, mostly medieval, mostly a little off color. Those are also there, like this guy. But I'm going to focus on temperature patterns. So I started designing cross stitch before I was a cross stitcher, which is very strange. I was a surface embroidery artist, and I really wanted a temperature pattern for surface embroidery, which is just freehand embroidery. And I couldn't find one. It didn't exist. And I was disappointed. So I was walking my dog. I do my best thinking when I'm walking my dog. And you're thinking, what can you have 365 of in a variety of different colors and not have it look weird? And I started thinking about this during the iconic Temperature Tree by Stitch and Mommy. That's still the iconic temperature cross stitch pattern. Honestly, it's genius, really. What I realized, and as a person who, is in academia, that a bookshelf is something you can have 365 books, all different colors, and it looks perfectly fine. And so that's when I designed this. And this is embroidered. So I designed this embroidery for me, and I posted about it on my YouTube channel, and some of my subscribers were like, I would totally stitch that if you design it in cross stitch. And so I did a little poll, and a few people did, and so I bought the pattern, and people loved it, and it went viral for me. Like, it didn't go viral for like big stars, but people really liked it. And so I do a temperature library every year. So this is the first one I did from 2021, and they all include numbers, so you can change the date, and they all have little knickknacks. So that is 2021, which was the first one I did. Here is 2022, different knickknacks. 2021 has larger books. And then after that, when I started cross stitching, I made the book smaller and I made more space for the knickknacks. So that was 2022. Here is 2023. And 2023 was a high-low temperature pattern, which I hadn't done before, and has new knickknacks. And here is 2024. And this one, of course, has the leap day. So those are the temperature libraries. To go along with these, I also designed knick-knack packs because all of my like shelf designs, which I have other shelf designs, they all are the same height. And so you can put these knickknacks on any of them and they will fit if the space is wide enough. So I have 2 knickknack expansion packs if you want to switch out your knickknacks. And a lot of people design their own knickknacks, which is wonderful. I love it so much. So those are my temperature library patterns. I designed a temperature drink shelf in honor of my mom who likes a cocktail, and Chevis of Chevy Rail Stuff podcast. She's a knitting podcaster who is amazing. She also likes a little drink, and this grab yo drank is her kind of catch line. So I did this for her several years ago, and in fact I stitched this one. I stitched this one on navy. I love it. It looks so good on navy. So I stitched that one. Just as a little fun, I think I designed this randomly in like March or April, like I had to do it for my 80s kids. Temperature Space Invaders. And this one also is easy to do. I mean, they all can be converted to leap year. So don't worry if you want to do these, if you want to do any retrospective, speaking of retro. So that is that. And then for this one, I thought it was very clever. The year is the score. I think I'm very clever all the time. All the time. My 2023 special pattern was Temperature Birds. And so it's just kind of birds on electric wires or cable wires. And I love them. All sorts of different kinds of birds. And then this past year I did Temperature Dragon. So this is the Temperature Dragon. I have designed it for a non-leap year. So that pattern is also now available. If you buy the Temperature Dragon now, you will get both leap year and non-leap year. So those are the temperature patterns that I have available in my shop. I hope that there's something there that you will enjoy. But I am really pleased with this guy here. This is not the original plan, though. I do have to admit, this is not the original plan. You might notice that this sort of like fan shape looks very much like the fan shape of the Temperature Dragon. I actually wanted to do a closed-tailed peacock. I love a closed-tailed peacock, but it would have made it like 50 feet tall. I mean, it was going to be really tall, and I wanted to make sure that it could easily fit on like a normal piece of fabric. So I went with the fan shape, and I do think I'm going to next year. I don't quite know what I'm going to do next year. I have some ideas percolating, but I'm going to try and get away from the fan shape as much as I love it. I don't want to like get into a rut, if that makes sense. I do love how this turned out. I'm really happy with it. I hope you like it too. And for the giveaway, if you would like to win a Temperature Peacock pattern bundle, which is all 3 files. It is this file, it is the table with the 2 colorways, and it is the Pattern Keeper compatible version emailed to you. Just put the word feather in the comments below. I was going to do peacock, but then people wouldn't be able to talk about the peacock. So I'm like, that's a bad idea. So we'll go with feather. And I will do a drawing on my next floss tube, which will probably be in 2 weeks because and it's October 1st now, so it'll probably be in about 2 weeks because I am going to a wedding next weekend. So if you want to win a copy of this for your 2025 temperature stitching, put feather in the comments down below. And with that, that's all I have to show you today. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you love it as much as I do. I hope you would like to stitch it. If you would like to purchase it, you can find it in my Etsy shop, which is, the link is in the description box down below. If you want to win it, put feather in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I have another Like I said, I have another temperature pattern coming this year. And I think I have some other fun videos that I'm into crafting. I'm doing sort of Christmassy things. So if you're interested in Christmas themed and sewing themed arts and crafts, this may be the channel for you. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.